So anything you have to ask before we start the class? कुछ पूछना है किसी को? Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so आज एक कबाड़ी वाला आया था। कबाड़ी वाला समझते ना क्या बोलते हैं इसको? So नॉर्मली कबाड़ी वाला क्या खरीदता है? लोहा, टीना, सीसी, बोतल, ऐसे बोलते हैं। आज एक मजेदार कैरेक्टर था, ही वाज आस्किंग फॉर वो कह रहा था, he was like quite inspirational कि एसी, टीवी, फ्रीज, कूलर बेचिए। सही है। हाँ, तो आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हो?
Yes, sir. Can I ask something?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we are watching news in Western media. They are saying that the Ukraine and Russian conflict what about the conclusion? We trust the Western media, what they are said.
Sorry, I could not get your question.
Sir, my question is Russia and Ukraine conflict, about their conflict. I saw the news and Western media, there are vast Western media, they saw such thing that we cannot conclusion. They think and different kind of story. So what are the conclusion? What are the such thing? We follow the Western media or not?
I got the question, what he's trying to ask. As far as I could understand, you are trying to ask what conclusion we should draw. Should we rely upon the Western media or not? This is what you're asking? Yes. See, conclusions, there are no conclusions as of yet. We have discussed at length. I will make that lecture public to all of you. मैं शेयर ही कर दूंगा, इतना परेशान हो रहे हैं सब। मैंने अभी recently we had 2 long discussions in the newspaper classes on Ukraine Russia issue. So I will make that lecture public to everyone. I will share that in the group. देख लेना सब, ठीक है? बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट पढ़ाना है, मैं पढ़ा दूं या आई एम जस्ट लाइक वेटिंग? इट्स वेरी वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट, बट वेटिंग फॉर अ फ्यू मोर पीपल टू ज्वाइन. गिव द हेडिंग. देखते हैं, अब जो लेट से आएंगे उनका छूटेगा. गिव द हेडिंग टाइप्स ऑफ मेजॉरिटी. वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई थिंक निशांत, मैंने पिछले वाले बैच में पढ़ाया था क्या ये?
नहीं सर, मुझे याद नहीं है. नहीं, मैं खुद पढ़ा हूँ सर ये.
ठीक है. So there are 4 types of majority. Types of majority in parliament. So there are 4 types of majority in parliament. First one is absolute majority. Second one is effective majority. Third one is simple majority. And the fourth one is special majority. And this special majority has 4 types. Okay. Absolute majority, effective majority, simple majority, and special majority. पता है निशांत?
हाँ सर।
So क्या है एब्सोल्यूट मेजोरिटी?
सर एब्सोल्यूट मेजोरिटी में सिंपल जब सर एब्सोल्यूट मेजोरिटी में होता है क्या कि कोई गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करने के लिए, जैसे जब इलेक्शन होता है, कोई जनरल इलेक्शन हुआ, उसके बाद जो भी गवर्नमेंट को फॉर्म करना है जिसको भी, उसको मेजोरिटी होना चाहिए.
So everyone write this down. It refers to a majority of more than 50% of the total membership of the House. It refers to a majority of more than 50% of the total membership of House. More than 50% of the total membership of the House. Absolute majority in Hindi, you might have heard the term many times. कहते हैं पूर्ण बहुमत. कई बार तुम लोगों ने न्यूज़ में सुना कि पूर्ण बहुमत की सरकार बनी है. पूर्ण बहुमत और एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी. क्या मतलब है? मोर देन 50% ऑफ द टोटल मेंबरशिप ऑफ द हाउस. मोर देन 50% of the total membership of the house. So how many members are there in Lok Sabha? 545. What will be the 50% of this number? 272.5. So we are saying more than 50%. So more than 50% will become 273. So this 273 is the absolute majority. So in order to form government, you need absolute majority. This number is not used for voting in parliament. कोई बिल पास करने के लिए, लॉ पास करने के लिए we do not use absolute majority. यहाँ तुम लिख सकते हो साइड में use, लिखते जाना use सब केस में, तो it will be easier for you. So it is used for the formation of government in center and state. It is used for formation of government. Formation of government at both center as well as state. ठीक है? First one is clear. Absolute majority, 50% of the total membership of the house. So in the case of any state, let's suppose in Bihar, how many Lok Sabha seats we have? Oh, sorry, how many Vidhan Sabha seats we have in Bihar, Nishant? $243. So how many seats a party has to win in order to form the government? $122. Not 3. 3 कैसे आ रहा है पन्ना तुम्हारा? 122 seats we need in Bihar. Any party needs 122 seats, or any coalition needs 122 MLAs to form the government. Now, second one, effective majority. एक मिनट रुक जाओ, मैंने आज सबको 1 मिनट रुक जाओ. मैंने आज बहुत लोगों को इंडिविजुअली लिंक भेजा नहीं है, ऐसे मैं ब्रॉडकास्ट कर देता हूँ मैसेज, बट लेट मी सेंड दिस टू एवरीवन. कहाँ कहाँ नहीं नोटिफिकेशन में भेज रहा हूँ लोग क्लास ज्वाइन करें. ठीक है, so there we are. The effective majority, now write here, effective majority is 50% of the effective strength of the house. Effective majority is 50% of the effective strength of the house. तो ऊपर क्या था, टोटल मेंबरशिप की बात कर रहे थे, यहां पे हम क्या करें, इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ. इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ लिख सकते हो, इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ मींस टोटल मेंबरशिप minus number of seats which are vacant. So let's suppose in the case of Rajya Sabha, you have 200. How many seats are there in Rajya Sabha? 245. 243 nahi. 245 seats we have in Rajya Sabha. Let's suppose on a particular day when you have to vote, 45 seats are vacant. Means these 45 people are not elected, or they might have died or because of some other reasons, these seats are vacant, वहाँ election नहीं हुआ है या कुछ भी. So effective strength will become 200. ठीक है. So now in this case 50% of the effective strength, or more than 50%, I should write more than 50%. More than 50% of the effective strength of the house will become 245 minus 45 is equal to 200 divided by 2. So 100 plus 1, more than 100, more than 50%. So 101 seat, 101 vote you need. Effective majority means 101 vote if 45 members are absent. So you see, absolute majority is always fixed. ये 273 हमेशा 203 ही रहेगा. This is not gonna change. But effective majority will keep changing. So today effective majority can be different, and tomorrow it can become different if some more MP dies or one more MP come or join the house. So ये change होता रहेगा. So total number of ये होगा effective majority. Now write about use. It is used in the case of removal of vice president in Rajya Sabha. मतलब चेयरमैन ऑफ राज्यसभा को हटाने के लिए. यूज रिमूवल ऑफ चेयरमैन ऑफ राज्यसभा. Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Chairman of Rajya Sabha is vice president. So removal of vice president from Rajya Sabha, you need effective majority. Similarly, removal of speaker and deputy speaker. Removal of speaker and deputy speaker in Lok Sabha. We need effective majority. ठीक है. Now the third type, simple majority. Third type, simple majority. Simple नाम है but it's not so simple. यहाँ कहते हैं, लिख लो इसको, more than 50% of the members present and voting. Very important, crucial term. More than 50% of the members present and voting. देखो यहाँ क्या है, 50% ऑफ द मेंबर्स है. यहाँ पे क्या था, 50% ऑफ टोटल मेंबरशिप. थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है दोनों में. एंड देन देयर इज दिस टर्म प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग. Let's take an example. Total membership of Lok Sabha is 545. Out of that, let's suppose 45 seats are vacant. ये 45 लोग आए ही नहीं, मतलब ये इलेक्ट ही नहीं हुए हैं, they might have died or something. So 45 seats are vacant. When 45 seats are vacant, you have 500 people in the Lok Sabha. Now, out of this 500 people, let's suppose 100 people are not present. They are sick, ill or something. किसी और भी reason से 100 people are not present. So minus 100 Now 400 people have come to the parliament on a particular day, जिस दिन वोटिंग होनी है, 400 लोग उस दिन आए हैं. Now out of this 400 people, let's suppose 50 members are not voting. जैसे कल तुम लोगों ने न्यूज में सुना होगा कि यूएनएससी का मीटिंग चल रहा था, एंड इंडिया सेड कि आई विल नॉट बी वोटिंग. इट नाइदर सपोर्टेड द bill or neither opposed it. It says I'm abstaining from the voting. So even in the parliament's case, some MPs can just abstain from the voting. It happens very often. So let's suppose 50 people decides to abstain from the voting. So now you are left with you are left with 350 seats. Are left with 350 MPs who are present in the house. In this case, a simple majority will mean 350 by 2. So this will become how much? 175 plus 1. More than 50% you need. So you need 176 votes to attain simple majority. ठीक है, दिस इज क्लियर. अ सिंपल मेजोरिटी, पहले वेकेंट वाले को हटाओ, फिर जो एब्सेंट है उनको हटाओ, और फिर जो वोट नहीं कर रहे हैं उनको हटाओ. ठीक है, it has to be decided on 3 levels. First, vacant people will be removed, then not present, and then present but not voting. The third, so this is simple majority. Now write about the uses of this. Simple majority is one of the widest used, most ordinarily used majority. This is used to pass ordinary bills. Ordinary bills. This is used to pass ordinary, मतलब डे टू डे का ऐसा कोई बिल आता है तो ऑर्डिनरी या मनी बिल या फिनांस बिल, all these bills are to be passed by simple majority. Then removal of vice president. रिमूवल ऑफ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, हमने अभी पीछे वाले केस में क्या देखा था, ये बहुत ट्रिकी है इसलिए मैं इसको ठीक से बढ़ा रहा हूं. We have seen here that removal of vice president or chairman from Rajya Sabha needs effective majority, but the chairman of Rajya Sabha cannot be removed just by the voting of Rajya Sabha. That has to be passed by the Lok Sabha also. But in the case when, जैसे ऐसे एक practical situation देखो, let's suppose Venkaiah Naidu is the vice president of Rajya Sabha. Now members of the Rajya Sabha, somebody decides that we have to remove him. So in order to remove him, they have to get effective majority. Let's suppose they get the effective majority. Then the bill to remove Venkaiah Naidu will go to Lok Sabha. And in Lok Sabha again that bill has to be passed. But in Lok Sabha it will not require effective majority. In Lok Sabha it will require simple majority. So removal of vice president or chairman of Rajya Sabha in Lok Sabha. So for removal of vice president, the majority required in Lok Sabha is the simple majority. To declare emergency, financial emergency पढ़ेंगे, we will read about emergency. अभी ये लिख लो. to declare financial emergency. Declare financial emergency, you need simple majority. ठीक है. Election of speaker. Election of speaker or deputy speaker in Lok Sabha requires simple majority. Now moving to special majority. It has 4 types. सबसे पहला टाइम which is से लिख सकते हो टाइप 1 स्पेशल मेजोरिटी एज पर आर्टिकल 249. स्पेशल मेजोरिटी एज पर आर्टिकल 249. 249. Here it requires a majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting. 2/3 of the members, 2/3, not more than 50%, 2/3. 2/3 of the members present and voting. Let's take an example. राज्यसभा के केस में देखते हैं. Total membership is 245. Let's suppose 50 seats are vacant. So effectively now we have 240 seats. Out of these 240 seats, let's suppose 40 people, 200 होना चाहिए ना. Let's suppose 10 people are absent. So it becomes 190. And let's suppose 10 people are not willing to vote. So we have 180 people. So we need 2/3 of this 180. 2/3 of this number. What will be the number? कितना हो जाएगा 180 का 2/3? 120. So you need 120 people. We need 120 votes to get special majority as per article 249. Special majority as per article 249 is 2/3 of the members or more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. इसको कहाँ यूज करते हैं? If you will read about 249, we have discussed about state list, center list, and concurrent list, if you remember. In some special cases, Rajya Sabha can ask the central government to make laws on state list. Make laws on state list subjects. जैसे कि let's suppose police is a state subject, but Rajya Sabha can pass a bill with special majority, and in that case they can ask the central government to make a law about police. ठीक है. So in this case, this has to be done by a special majority. Got it? 2/3 of the members present and voting. Which is more difficult to get? Simple majority or special majority as per Article 249? किसके लिए ज्यादा लोग चाहिए? अच्छा, यहाँ मैंने गलत वो कर दिया. ठीक है, और इसको ठीक कर लो, 45 कर लो. मान लो 45 सीट्स आर वेकेंट. पैनुल और करमवीर कंफ्यूज्ड है. स्पेशल मेजोरिटी इज डिफिकल्ट. स्पेशल मेजोरिटी में तुमको 2/3 चाहिए, वहां तुमको बस 50% चाहिए था. हियर यू नीड मोर देन दैट. ठीक है, देयर यू नीडेड 1/2, हियर यू नीड 2/3. सो अगर 190, तुमको 190 का अगर 50% चाहिए होता तो कितना हो जाता? 190 का 50%, so you, in the case of simple majority, would have required just 96 seats. 95. Would have just needed 96 seats or 96 votes. But in case of special majority, you need 120. ठीक है, so special majority is difficult to get. वहां भी ये कंडीशन तो वहां भी है, प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग. बट here you need 2/3 of the members present and voting. यूज कहाँ करेंगे? यूज करेंगे जब राज्यसभा को ज्यादा पावर देना हो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को. इतना बस याद रख सकते हो. When Rajya want to give more power to the central government, or it want to give more power, it want to give it the power to make laws with regard to states, they have to do this. But it's not so easy. ऐसा नहीं कि राज्यसभा को जब मन करे तो कर सकते हैं, because getting 2/3 majority is difficult. 180 में से 220 लोगों का चाहिए, आधे लोगों का नहीं, 220 लोगों का चाहिए. So it's difficult. Now special majority type 2, this is as per Article 368. Special majority as per Article 368. Special majority as per Article 368. यहाँ पे क्या कहते हैं, लिख लो इसको. A majority, majority of 2/3 members present and voting. There are two conditions. Majority of 2/3 members present and voting. You need majority of 2/3 members present and voting. So in this regard, it's same as Article 249. But we have one more condition attached here, that it should be supported by more than 50% of the total strength of the house. Supported by more than 50% of the total strength of the house. Let's do a calculation. यही वाला केस देखते हैं. मान लो 245 यही वाला राज्यसभा के ही केस में देखते हैं. So 245 members in Rajya Sabha. 45 seats are vacant. So we have 200 people, 200 members. Now of this 200 members, 10 are absent and 10 are not voting. So we have 100. Oh, कितना पिछले केस में मैंने क्या किया था? हाँ, 100 not voting and 100 absent. So we have 180 seats. Two-third of 100 is 120. So we need 120 votes. But the second condition says 50% of the total membership or total strength of the house. So what is the total strength of the house? Total strength of the house is 245. So 50% of 245 will become how much? 245 into 1/2. So कितना हो गया? 122, 123. So in this case, you need vote of at least 200, 123 people. Not अगर तुमको ये मिल भी जाता है 120 लोग, if 120 people are even supporting this bill or this whatever they are going to do in this case, whatever, even if 122 people are supporting, they need 3 more people to get it passed. So you can see that special majority as per Article 368 is even tougher than special majority as per Article 249. इसको जानने के लिए और ज्यादा लोगों का सपोर्ट चाहिए आपको. Now write the use of this. अच्छा एक चीज, हाँ ठीक है. It is used to pass constitutional amendment bills. Constitution Amendment 368 actually is about constitutional amendment. So it is required to first use is Constitution Amendment, amendment of Constitution, which does not impact federalism. यहाँ add कर सकते हो bracket में. We will understand the meaning of this, which does not affect federalism. और जो सबसे important point है यहाँ, this majority is used for removal of Supreme Court and High Court judges. तरह क्या है? Removal of Supreme Court and High Court judges. Removal of Chief Election Commissioner. Removal of Chief Election Commissioner. यही पढ़ाने के लिए मैंने तुमको ये सब पढ़ाया है, because the chapter that we are going to read, we have to read about this. So this majority you need for the removal of Chief Election Commissioner. So let us take an example. आज बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ऐसा सोचती है कि let us remove the Chief Election Commissioner. He is not working as we want him to work. How many MPs do they need to do so? उनको एक मिनट रुको. How many members do they need? देखते हैं. First, they need to pass a bill in लोकसभा, right? CEC को हटाना है आज बीजेपी को, मान लो. So first they need to pass this bill in लोकसभा. लोकसभा में कितने मेंबर्स हैं? 545. Now out of this 545, मान लो 2-4 तो वैसे लटके हुए होंगे, कहीं बाई इलेक्शन होगा, कोई मर गया होगा, कुछ मान लो, अभी आई डोंट नो द एग्जैक्ट नंबर, बट लेट्स सपोज there are 5 people who are 5 seats are vacant, मर गए हैं या कुछ हो गया है इनको, so these or they have resigned or something like that, so we have 540 seats. Now we are just trying to know कि क्या बीजेपी आज चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर को हटा सकती है या नहीं हटा सकती है, या कोई भी गवर्नमेंट हो पावर में तो हटा सकती है कि नहीं. तो हाउ मेनी सीट्स बीजेपी हैज इन द लोकसभा एट प्रेजेंट, किसी को पता है? हाउ मेनी सीट्स बीजेपी हैज एट, बीजेपी और इट्स अलायंस, पूरा एनडीए का कितना सीट है? बीजेपी हैज 303, एंड if we take their alliance members in count, I think it goes up to about 330 के आसपास कुछ हो जाएगा. So let's take this number कि BJP has the support of 330 MLAs. Can they remove the chief election commissioner? बहुत बहुत बड़ा majority. It's very difficult to get such a big majority. So even with such a big majority, can they remove the chief election commissioner? Let's see. So let's suppose 5 seats are vacant. We are not considering कि किसके तरफ से vacant हुआ है. देखते हैं अगर जरूरत पड़ी तो consider करेंगे. So 5 seats are vacant. And because whenever chief election commissioner will be removed, this will be a very important bill. So both center and opposition will want all their members to be present and to vote. कि कोई भी ऐसा नहीं होगा जो रिस्क ले इस केस में कि नहीं वोट करूंगा. अगर नहीं वोट करेंगे तो पार्टी विल रिमूव देम और टेक डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन अगेंस्ट देम. सो लेट्स सपोज इन दिस केस आई थिंक कि एवरीबॉडी रीच ऑन टाइम एंड वोट. So 540 members all are present and all are voting. In this case, what will be the 2/3 of this? 2/3 of 540 कितना हो जाएगा? जल्दी से कैलकुलेट करो, जिसका मैथ्स बढ़िया है देखा जाए. कैलकुलेटर मत यूज करना. कितना टाइम? लिखते रहो. So it will be about 360. ठीक है, all are present, all are voting. In this case, it will become 360. So even when you see BJP with 330 huge number of votes in their favor, they are not able to remove the CEC because it needs 360 votes. Now let's suppose कि अभी पार्टी को लगता है कि नहीं, इसको तो किसी भी केस में हटाना ही है, and they do a trick. Let's suppose it's not India, it's some dictatorial country like Mexico वगैरह जहाँ पे कि rigging चल रही है and there is a dictator present. So what he can do, he will say कि चलो जो अपोजिशन वाले हैं ना, 100 लोग अपोजिशन वाले हैं, 100 लोगों को हम गायब करवा देते हैं, इनको जेल में डाल दो या इनको पहुंचने ही मत दो. लेट्स stop them from reaching the parliament itself. So now this 540 will become 440, right? 100 people are not able to reach, and because all these 100 people are from opposition, तो जो बाकी, तो अभी पहले तो ये देख लेते हैं कि अब कितना नंबर चाहिए अपने को. 2/3 of 440. What will be the number now? कितना हो जाएगा अब 2/3 of 440? It will be about, if Padmani's calculation is right, so it will be 294. In this case, you see, BJP or any Mexican government will be able to remove the CEC because the government has, if it has a clear majority of 330, they can remove the CEC. कम से कम लोकसभा में तो ये बिल पास हो जाएगा अभी. So that's why now you can probably appreciate one clause that we have in our constitution, that MPs cannot be arrested while the session is going on. उनको इम्यूनिटी मिलती है कि जब तक सेशन चल रहा है उस टाइम पे एमपीज को अरेस्ट नहीं करना है, क्योंकि एमपीज को अरेस्ट करके गवर्नमेंट चाहे तो बहुत एक मुश्किल मेजोरिटी को भी हासिल कर सकती है. एंड यहाँ पे एक और क्लॉज है which says, let's suppose somehow it happens that they more than 100 members, let's suppose 150 members are not present. Something has happened in the country, or maybe there is a dictator and he has created such a fearful environment in the country that even MPs are not daring to go to the parliament, and 150 MPs are not coming to the parliament. And he wants to remove all the judges and all the election commissioner and all, सबको हटाना चाहता है अपने पोस्ट से. And in that situation he the dictator brings a bill to remove the chief judge and remove the election commissioner and all. 150 लोग अगर नहीं आते, so what will become the number? 540 था, 540 minus 150, क्या नंबर बच गया अपने पास? 390. Now of this 390, you need 2/3 of 390. तो कितने लोग हो गए? 260. But the second clause says that you need at least 50% of the total membership of the house. दूसरा कंडीशन हमने क्या पढ़ा था? That you need at least the support of 50% members of the house. So 50% of 545 is 273. So you see, in this case, even if 260 members are voting for the bill, this bill cannot be passed because it needs at least 273 seats. तो ये सेकंड क्लॉज क्यों रखा गया है 273 का? It is kept in place there because at least आपको इतना नंबर तो चाहिए. If you are trying to like somehow, if you are trying to pass a bill at a time when no one is present, ऐसे टाइम पे कोई बिल लेके आ जाए जब कोई बहुत सारे लोग प्रेजेंट हैं and they want to, even if they want to pass such bills, they cannot be passed because at least you need 273 people in the house. ये 273 people सारे के सारे वोट करें in the favor of removing him, only then such a bill can be passed. तो ये 250, ये 50% का ये क्या है? ये एक समझो कि एडेड सेफ्टी है, एक और सेफ्टी मेजर लगाया गया है कि कोई भी बहुत ब्रूट मेजोरिटी के साथ है वो चीफ हाई कोर्ट के जजेज या इलेक्शन कमीशन को आसानी से नहीं हटा पाए. अब द थर्ड टाइप ऑफ मेजोरिटी, this is a special majority as per article 368. Again, जैसा सेकंड था, स्पेशल मेजोरिटी एज पर आर्टिकल 368. बट 368 में दो तरीके के हैं, हमने क्या पढ़ा था, पहले तो ये है क्या ये समझ लो, दिस इज सिंपल। स्पेशल मेजोरिटी एज पर 368 टाइप 2 बोल सकते हो, आर्टिकल 368 टाइप 2। हियर यू नीड 2/3 of members present and majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting. You also need 50% of the total membership, plus such bills are supposed to be passed by state governments as well. State government by simple majority. Let's take an example of GST. दोनों में अंतर क्या है, आर्टिकल ये टाइप 2 और टाइप 3 में? टाइप 2 is used to do the constitutional amendments where federalism is not affected. But if there is any constitutional amendment where federalism is getting affected, federalism means the distribution of power between center and state is getting affected. In that case, center is also required to ask the states for their permission, and majority of states should agree for that. So कम से कम 50% of the states should pass a bill with simple majority. मतलब क्या, let's suppose GST is proposed. Now we know कि GST has a profound impact on center and state both. तो पहले तो center has to pass this bill with 2/3 majority of present and voting and 50% of the total membership, and it has to be passed by both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. अच्छा, यहाँ पे मैंने ये थोड़ा सा सिंपलिस्टिक कर दिया। यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है कि इफ बीजेपी विल गेट 260 वोट्स और 290 वोट्स एंड दे कैन remove the chief election commission. They have to go to Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha में, let's take this example as well. In Rajya Sabha you have 245 members. Out of this 245 members, let's suppose 5 are again not present, 5 seats are vacant, they are not there, and everybody is, rest of all are present and voting. So here also you will need 2/3. तो ये कितना हो जाएगा, 160. So you need 160 votes in Rajya Sabha at least, and again you need 50% as well. तो ये 160 वोट राज्यसभा में बहुत मुश्किल है. Even today BJP do not have such brute majority in Rajya Sabha, and getting such brute majority in Rajya Sabha is very 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 difficult. We will see how and why. तो अगर बीजेपी इसको लोकसभा में पास करवा भी लेती है, और इसको राज्यसभा में पास करवाना बहुत मुश्किल होगा. सो वी कैन से कि चीफ इलेक्शन कमीशन को हटाना बहुत मुश्किल है. एनीवे, अगेन कमिंग बैक टू दिस जीएसटी. तो ये मान लो कि लोकसभा राज्यसभा में पास हुआ पहले जीएसटी विथ 2/3 मेजोरिटी, 2/3 of the majority of the members present and voting, 50% of the total membership. After that, that will be sent to state governments. So how many states do we have in India? And how many union territories do we have? पक्का 8 ही है. So the bill will be sent to all the states, and so at least 14, or let's suppose 15 of them has to agree with this bill. अब वो कैसे अग्री करेंगे? उनके असेंबलीज में फिर ये बिल एक बार भेजा जाएगा, एंड इन देयर स्टेट असेंबलीज देयर विल बी वोटिंग, एंड देयर दे जस्ट नीड टू पास इट बाय सिंपल मेजोरिटी. स्टेट्स में फिर ऐसा उनको स्पेशल मेजोरिटी नहीं चाहिए. देयर दे कैन पास इट विद सिंपल मेजोरिटी, members present and voting, and then the GST will become a bill. The third variant is simple majority as per Article 368. टोटल नंबर जहां पे फेडरलिज्म इम्पैक्ट होता हो. नाउ द फाइनल वन, द फोर्थ वेरिएंट, दिस इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू गेट. दिस इज एज पर आर्टिकल 61, as per article 61, which says majority of article 61, majority of 2/3 of total membership. 2/3 of total membership of the house. मतलब क्या होगा? अगर लोकसभा में देर आर 545 सीट्स, तो यू हैव टू डू 2/3 of this. What will be the number? 364. So at least you need 364 votes to get this special majority as per article 3, as per article 61. ये चाहिए for the removal of president. Removal of president, and in case of Rajya Sabha this will be 2/3 of 245. So it will be about 164. 164. So you need 164 votes in Rajya Sabha and 364 votes in Lok Sabha to remove president. So you see, removing the president is the most difficult thing to do. President को कोई नहीं हटा सकता. एक बार जो बन गया वो बन गया. Even the party which has selected, अगर आज बीजेपी को लगे भी कि रामनाथ कोविंद is not a good president for them, they cannot remove him because it needs a lot of vote that they do not have. So after president, the second most difficult thing to do is to pass a bill which impact the federal structure. उसके बाद the third most difficult thing to do is to remove high court judges, Supreme Court judges. That's why you see कि in India never a high court or a Supreme Court judge has been removed. And as well as chief election commissioner, once you have appointed someone as chief election commissioner, you cannot remove him. It needs a lot of vote, which is very difficult to get. And then you have constitutional amendments. So constitutional amendment is also difficult in that sense, but there is no that 50. So constitutional amendment is also difficult, but वही कि उसमें तुमको स्टेट से नहीं पूछना और 50% का क्लॉज नहीं है. And then removing, ये छोटे मोटे लोगों को हटाना बहुत आसान काम है. There you need effective majority or simple majority. तो इस तरीके से this is how it works. ठीक है. आया समझ में? Really a very confusing topic, but I hope you got it. अब इसको एक दो बार और थोड़ा खुद से रिवाइज करोगे तो it will become much more easier. take a break for 2 minutes, and then we will start again with the NCERT. काफी मजेदार चीजें पढ़नी है आज. So very long chapter. At least we will try to cover chapter number 3 and 4 today. ठीक है. Okay. तो कहाँ थे हम? Jahangir is asking, sir, 50% is always greater than 2/3. Then why count 2/3? Is it 50% is always greater than 2/3? How? उल्टा होना चाहिए कि 2/3 is always greater than 50%. Even if you have a doubt, then it should be like that. So is it like 50%? Is it that 2/3 is always greater than 50%? ऐसा है क्या? Let's see this. I hope all of you understand the question. It's a good question, actually. He's saying that 2/3 is always greater than 50%. So why count 50%? All of you agree that 2/3 will always be greater than 50%? क्यों ज्यादा नहीं होगा 2/3 always? Aparna? Yes. 50% is the total strength and 2/3 is present and voting. So 2/3 is always flexible. 2/3 can be anything. Let's suppose everybody is absent and there are only 50 members present in the house. 50 member is the minimum quorum. 50% log hain to house can function. So if only 50% people are present, so 2/3 of 50 people will be how much? 100 divided by 3 is 33 or 34. So 2/3 of members present and voting can be as less as 34. Minimum 34 लोग भी हैं तब भी 2/3 हो जाएगा. But 50% is always 273. इससे कम तो हो ही नहीं सकता। तो अगर ये नहीं है तो दिस बिल कैन नॉट बी पास। ठीक है जहांगीर, समझ में आई बात? इसलिए मैंने कहा कि मैं इसको ऐसे ही सोचता हूँ कि किसी को किडनैप भी कर लिया फिर भी नहीं कर सकते। इट्स इजी वे आउट ना, कि कोई आता है ताना साहब, लाइक पुलिस इज इन कंट्रोल ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट और मिलिट्री इज इन द कंट्रोल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, एंड someday government thinks of kidnapping everyone, and they will just, the prime minister will just allow 50 members that he loves or likes, and those 50 people will come and pass a bill. They can impose, like they can remove or they can do anything that they want, but कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, इसलिए इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बहुत एक फाइन बैलेंस बोला जाता है। इट्स अ लिविंग डॉक्यूमेंट। यू कैन चेंज, you can change the constitution, but it's not so easy to change the constitution because you need a lot of people to change. So until unless everyone is agreeing, center, state, opposition, everybody is agreeing, you cannot change the constitution. So हमने पढ़ा था ना कि it's a fine balance between rigid and flexible. So that's how that fine balance is maintained. Hmm. Election and representation. आइनुल कह रहे कि once again repeat, shortly repeat special majority। देख लेना आइनुल, एक बार रिवाइज करके देखना, नहीं समझ में आए तो फिर नेक्स्ट क्लास में डिस्कस करेंगे। ठीक है। So election and representation. In this chapter, we will study constitutional provisions regarding election and representation. First, there are different methods of election in different countries, and even in our country, different people are selected or elected in different ways. Characteristics of these different methods that are adopted in our country, we'll read about that. Importance of the provisions for free and fair election, and debate on electoral reforms. Very important topic for mains. देखते हैं। So we have read about direct democracy in the last class, where we read about plebiscite and referendum. So many countries use this, but for any big country, it's not possible. So we have adopted a method of representatives. We choose our representatives who in turn are actively involved in governing and administrative the country. Now these are the questions. कौन वोट दे सकता है? Who is eligible? Who can contest? Who will supervise the election? All these answers are given by our constitution. So electoral system in India. So this is a clipping in which saying कि पहली बार कांग्रेस को 3/4 बहुमत, 3/4 of 543 or 45. So what happened? It's a good case study. In 1984 election, Congress got 415 seats. Like this is the brute majority. Nobody has ever touched this. If you remember, Indira Gandhi has died recently, and there was, इसको बोलते हैं sympathy votes. बहुत एक sympathy voting हुई भी कांग्रेस के फेवर में, and everybody throughout the country voted for the Congress, and they got 80% of the seats. Now, does that mean that every 4 out of 5 Indians voted for Congress? इसका मतलब ऐसा था क्या कि 80% लोग जो इंडिया में थे वो कांग्रेस को सपोर्ट करते हैं? और इवन टुडे बीजेपी हैज अबाउट 303 सीट्स. So which roughly becomes how much? About 60% के आसपास या 55% के आसपास. So that does that mean कि 55% people in India supports BJP? Actually not. If you'll see in this election, Congress only got 48% of the votes. Only 40% of those who voted for Congress. So if 100 people have participated in election, only 48% of those people voted for Congress. Then how does Congress was able to win so many seats? And BJP at that time, which got about 7% seat votes, can get only 1% seat. बीजेपी को 7.4% वोट्स मिलते हैं और जस्ट 1% भी नहीं, लेस देन 1%, लेस देन इवन हाफ परसेंट. सो 7% वोट्स बट जस्ट 2 सीट्स. ये थोड़ा सा अनफेयर नहीं लग रहा है? somebody is getting less votes but getting more seats. शरत, नो, ऐसा नहीं है. Even if people are participating, this is the number of votes who participated in the election. They're saying all the, does it mean that 80% of the voters support BJP, Congress, or in today's time 55% of the voters support BJP? ऐसा नहीं है. And if it's not so, doesn't it sound a little bit unfair? 7% seats BJP, 7% votes BJP got, but it got only 2 seats. So how and why this happens? This happens because we adopt a special kind of method of election. This method is called first past the poll system. We follow first past the post system. This is a very common name you will find in many books, but it is also called plurality system. इसको याद रखना है. First past the poll system or plurality system. How does this system works? See, first, whole country is divided into 543 constituencies. Each constituency elects one representative, and candidates who secure the highest number of votes in that constituency is declared elected. एक constituency में whosoever will get the highest number of vote will get elected. Let's suppose in a constituency 5 candidates are fighting the election. Now out of these 5 people, everybody gets 4 candidates get about 20%, 20%, 20%, and one candidate gets 19%, and one candidate gets 21%. So in this case, even if somebody is getting just 21% vote, he will win this constituency. So for winning the election, you do not need actually 50% of the vote. For winning elections, you just need majority of rest of everyone. So in this case, you see, even if he has just got 1% more vote than his closest competitors, this person will be declared as winner. So this happened in this election, जिसमें बीजेपी कांग्रेस को 48% ही वोट मिलते हैं, but in most of the states or in most of the constituencies they were able to win because their candidate got more votes than the candidates of other parties. ऐसा नहीं था कि उनको बहुत ज्यादा वोट मिल गए. ठीक है, and we follow this because this method is prescribed by the constitution. This method has been suggested to us. So यहाँ क्या कहते हैं कि the votes that go to the losing candidates go west. For those candidates or parties get no seats for these votes. Even if this party has got 20% vote, they will get no seat. इनको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. So basically all these votes are going to get wasted. इनके वोट काउंटिंग का कोई मतलब नहीं है. जिसने इसको दिया है उसी का कैंडिडेट जीतेगा. इसलिए बोलते हैं कि it's kind of wasted. So even in a party, I showed you, even in a party with 21% can win the constituency, or even less than that. कुछ पे भी, like ऐसा सपोज करो कि एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में सिर्फ 10 लोग ही रहते हैं. There are only 10 people, and all of these 10 people decided to fight the election. So everybody will be voting for himself at least. तो सबको एक एक वोट मिल जाएगा. बट लेट सपोज एक कोई और आदमी है जो कहता है कि उसमें से किसी ने किसी को एग्री कर लिया कि तुम मत खड़े हो या तुम मुझे वोट दे दो. सो रेस्ट ऑफ द 9 people विल बी गेटिंग वन वोट, एंड 1 people who has somehow किसी को अग्री करवा लिया तो उसको 2 वोट मिल गए तो वो भी जीत सकता है. तो फर्स्ट पास द पोल सिस्टम में तो वो कुछ नहीं करना है. नियरेस्ट कंपटीटर से 1 वोट ज्यादा लाना है. बट देयर इज अनदर मेथड called known as proportional representation, which is followed by many countries. First, let us understand कि how does this work, and then we will compare कि कौन सा method अच्छा है अपने लिए. Should we switch back to some other method? This is the method in which elections happens in Israel. I know that most of you would not have been following the newspapers, but about 5-6 months back, there were elections in Israel, and they already had 4 rounds of election. 4 बार इलेक्शन पहले ही हो चुका था, but they were not able to form government. बार इलेक्शन होता था और कोई मेजोरिटी किसी को मिलती ही नहीं थी. And finally they were able to form the government in the 5th time. We will see कि क्यों इतना complicated है वहां का इलेक्शन. In proportional representation system, each party is allotted the share of the seats in the parliament in proportion to its share of the votes. So अगर इंडिया में प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन का सिस्टम फॉलो होता, if such a system would have been followed in our country, so in this election बीजेपी को, अगर कांग्रेस को 48% वोट मिले हैं तो दे वुड हैव गॉट 48% ऑफ 545 सीट्स. इनको इतना ही मिलता. बीजेपी वुड हैव गॉट 7%. एजीपी एंड अकाली दल वुड हैव गॉट 1%. सबको ये सीट्स नहीं मिलके एवरीबॉडी वुड हैव गॉट द सीट्स इन प्रोपोर्शन टू देयर वोट. इसीलिए प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन बोलते हैं. So each party is allotted the share of seats in the parliament in proportion to its share of votes. अब यहाँ पे इलेक्शन कैसे होता है? Each party will prepare a list of candidates. Each party fills its quota of seat by picking those many of its nominees from a preferential list that it has declared before the election. Actually, इजराइल में इलेक्शन कैसा होता है उसको समझते हैं. There are many parties. All the parties will fight election, and people will vote for those parties. So let's suppose there are parties A, B, C, and all of them will get vote. Like A को मिलता है मान लो 60%, B gets 30%, and C gets 10%. And if there are 100 seats in the country, so A will get 60 seats, B will get 30 seats, and C will get 10 seats. Now, A will have a list. इसको कहते हैं preference list. A list of candidates of 60 members, which it would have declared before elections. यहाँ पे कोई एक आदमी किसी एक particular seat से नहीं लड़ रहा है. हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है? We know that Narendra Modi is fighting from Varanasi. But here nobody is fighting from any particular seat. Elections will happen simultaneously everywhere. The votes will be counted, and then party will decide ki who will become the MP. So party can make anybody MP from anywhere. यहाँ कोई individual person is not tied to a seat. ठीक है, ये difference समझ में आ रहा है? This method is called as proportional representation system. In this system, every party will get the same proportion of seat as in its vote. Now, even PR system has two variants. One variant is followed in Israel or Netherlands, and the other variant is followed in Argentina and Portugal. So in Israel, what will happen? That whole country is treated as one constituency. यहाँ पे कोई constituency नहीं है. Like I told you in this case. So everybody, all the voters of the country will vote for the parties, and these parties will then select their candidates. But there is a little bit more complicated system followed in Argentina or Portugal. यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Let's suppose this is Argentina. Now they will divide Argentina into different constituencies. So let's suppose they divide their country into 6 constituencies. Now for each constituency, let's suppose there are 3 parties, A, B and C. So party A will issue 6 lists. Party A क्या करेगी? 6 lists issue करेगी for each constituency. इसमें ये अपना एक लिस्ट बनाएगी कि if I will win the election, these members will be elected on my party, my ticket. तो मान लो कि यहाँ पे constituency 1, constituency 2, constituency 3, constituency 4, 5 and 6. And each constituency has certain number of seats. Let's suppose this constituency total number of seats. एक इजराइल वाला हमने देख लिया एग्जांपल, जहां पे कि total country has 100 seats and A, B, C will fight the election and they will get 60, 30 and 10 seats and they will elect. ये 60 लोगों को ये बना देगा, ये 30 को बना देगा, ये 10 को बना देगा. यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Let's suppose this constituency A has 20 seats, this has 20 seats, this also has 20 seats, this also has 20 seats. This has 10 seats and this has 10 seats. They are smaller states, मान लो. So now party A will declare a list of 20 candidates for constituency A, constituency B, constituency C, ऐसे और 1, 2, 3, 4 और 5, 6 के लिए वो 10-10 लोगों का लिस्ट जारी करेगी. वैसे ही B will do the same. It will also publish a list of 6 people, 20, 20, 20 and 10, 10 people. C will do the same. They will also publish a list. Now people will vote in each of these constituencies. So let's suppose in constituency A, there are people who favors party A. तो यहाँ पे इस constituency से let's suppose they get 80% vote. They get 10% vote and they get 10% vote. So from constituency constituency 1, party A को कितनी seats मिलनी चाहिए? How many seats party A will get from constituency 1 if they are getting 80% vote? Anyone? Let's check how much you are understanding. नहीं समझ रहे हो तुम लोग? How many seats they will get? Yes, Faz, absolutely correct. They will get 16 seats. 80% of 20 seats. यहाँ पे 20 seats है. इसका 80% मिल जाएगा पार्टी ए को. So 80% of 20 is 16 seats will go to party A. Then 2 seats will go to party B and 2 seats will go to party C. So out of this 20 people's list that party A has published, they can select any 16 people. वो किसी भी 16 आदमी को भेज सकता है. इसमें अब peoples do not have any say कि तुम इस आदमी को क्यों भेज रहे हो. ठीक है, they have voted for the party and party is free to select any 16 people out of their list that they had published. वैसे ही party V will also send any 2 people out of their preference list. जनरली प्रेफरेंस लिस्ट क्यों बोलते हैं, क्योंकि ऊपर वाले दो जो प्रीफर्ड मोस्ट प्रीफर्ड है उनको भेज दिया जाएगा. सिमिलरली पार्टी सी विल आल्सो सेंड 2 पीपल आउट ऑफ देयर लिस्ट. अब मान लो कि इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी 6 A gets 10% vote, B gets 10% vote and C gets 80% vote. So how many members or how many seats each party will have? Yeah, so they will get 1, they will also get 1 and they will get 8 because there are only 10 seats. ठीक है, 1 1 8. तो इस तरीके से ये दो मॉडल्स हैं. ठीक है, प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन के. आई हैव नॉट टॉट दिस इन सो डिटेल एनीवेयर इन अदर क्लास, बट मुझे लगता है कि अब समझ में आ गया होगा. यहां नहीं समझ में आएगा तो कहीं नहीं समझ में आएगा. ठीक है, सिस्टम इन टाइप 1 दे विल गेट 60 30 10. यहाँ पे क्या होगा, ईच कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में डिसीजन होगा. सो इन ईच कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी नंबर कैन वेरी. और फाइनली आफ्टर एडिंग ऑल दीज कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज we will decide कि which party has the highest number of seats and as per that we will decide कि किसकी गवर्नमेंट बनेगी. ठीक है, so here you must understand that voters exercise their preference for a party and not a candidate. In PR system people do not vote for the candidate. वहां लोग कैंडिडेट को जानते भी नहीं है कि who will become the MP. They vote for the party. If they agree with the ideas that party is presenting, they will vote for that party. ठीक है, everybody is with me. Now proportional representation in Israel. किसी के लिए बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड तो नहीं हो रहा है? All of you are able to understand, right? It's easy, it's not that difficult. मतलब थोड़ा एक बार सोचने समझने की क्षमता विकसित कर ले तो कोई मुश्किल काम नहीं है. अब इजराइल में देखते हैं क्या होता है. इजराइल्स लेजिस्लेचर इज नोन एज नेसेट. के साइलेंट इज नोन एज नेसेट. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, इवन अब देखो थोड़ा सा, अगर इफ यू ट्राई टू कंपेयर both proportional representation system and our system, first past the poll system, you will realize कि in proportional representation system even the small party, a very small party which has very small base, will also get a representation in the legislature. So अगर किसी पार्टी के पास, let's suppose if there are 100 seats and if one party gets 1% vote, even then they will get 1 seat. But हमारे केस में if some party is getting 7% votes, they will get 7 seats. But in India, parties getting 4%, 5% vote, they will not get any seat in पार्लियामेंट और लोकसभा, लेजिस्लेचर में उनको सीट नहीं मिलेगा। बट यहाँ इवन द इन रिप्रेजेंटेशन सिस्टम इवन द स्मॉलेस्ट पार्टीज गेट द रिप्रेजेंटेशन। यहाँ देखें क्या क्या पार्टीज हैं। लिकुड को मिलता है 23%, जियोनिस्ट को मिलता है 18% एंड 10%। सो यू देयर आर टोटल नंबर ऑफ हाउ मेनी सीट्स आर देयर? Total 120 seats are here. Okay, so you see the party which gets 10.6%, they are getting 13 seats. The party which gets slightly above 3 point marks, that get 5 seats. 3 से थोड़ा ऊपर चले गए तो 5 सीट मिल गया। तो इस तरीके से बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी पार्टी है एंड एवरी पार्टी इज गेटिंग some seat. In India, let's suppose I create a party for UPSC aspirants, one party just for UPSC aspirant. It will just demand all the like UPSC का एग्जाम देने जाए तो वहां पे सबको थोड़ा लस्सी वस्सी पिलाई जाए, बढ़िया एसी वैसी में एग्जाम देने। मैं एक पार्टी बनाता हूँ एंड लेट सपोज इन इंडिया देयर आर 1% people who are willing or who think who are going to appear for this exam, तो ये तो मुझे वोट देंगे सारे, मेरी पार्टी को एटलीस्ट वोट देंगे थ्रू आउट कंट्री। सो इवन दिस पार्टी इन इंडिया कैन गेट 1% वोट, दैट मीन्स 1% ऑफ द सीट। सो 5 सीट तो अपने को भी मिल जाएगी आसानी से। You can again use it for caste purposes. If any caste has just 1%, 1% of the total composition in India, a party which represents that caste will be able to get 5% or 5 seats at least. तो वही यहाँ देख रहे हो सारी कास्ट बेस्ड या इतनी कम आइडेंटिटी बेस्ड पार्टीज हैं। इजराइल के लिए, जुडिज्म के लिए, सो अलग अलग रीजन्स में, सास के लिए भी अलग अलग रीजन्स में अलग अलग पार्टीज हैं विच रिप्रेजेंट अ पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी एंड ऑल ऑफ देम गेट रिप्रेजेंटेड इन द पार्लियामेंट। एक बार कंपेयर करते हैं दोनों सिस्टम को। First past the post system and proportional representation. Here country is divided into small geographical units called constituencies or districts. Here it is divided into large geographical areas. First, in some cases it is not divided as in case of Israel, and even when it is divided as in the case of Argentina, it's divided into very large constituencies. So एक constituency में 20 सीट हो सकते हैं, वो स्मॉलर एक 1 सीट 1 मेंबर के टाइप का डिवीजन नहीं होता। Every constituency elects 1 representative. Here every constituency one representative. Here one constituency many representatives. Voters vote for one candidate. Here voters vote for the party. Parties may get more seats than the votes in legislature. So parties can get more or less. It depends number of seats that they get than the number of votes that they get. यहाँ पे it will be always proportional. यहाँ candidates who win the election may not get 50% of the votes. So for winning election in India, you do not need the vote of more than 50% people. BJP will, with about 35% vote this year, is able to win a lot of seats. So you do not need majority of the votes, but here candidates who wins the election gets majority of the vote. यहाँ उसी को वही जीतेगा जिसको more than 50% of people are supporting. Now this proportional representation seems more fair, है कि नहीं? proportional representation ज्यादा fair लग रहा है, जिसकी because कम से कम 50% people will be supporting the government. In proportional representation in our system it doesn't seem so fair, like कम लोग होते क्या support होते हुए भी anybody can make the government. But then you can ask why we have selected this system. We will discuss about that. उससे पहले again one more complexity is here. How does the proportional representation system work in Rajya Sabha elections? You know, in our country, our constitution is known as very, very complicated constitution. So our constitution has prescribed a very complex variations of PR system. Proportional representation का एक बहुत complex variation we use, which is a third variant. This is used for the election of president, vice president, and the election of Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Parishads. ये क्या है देखते हैं. How this election works. Very very complicated. But be with me. नहीं समझ में आएगा तो फिर नहीं समझ में आएगा. This system is known as the method of single transferable vote system. जो मैंने लास्ट क्लास में बोला था कि विल रीड इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. सो सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट सिस्टम which works for Rajya Sabha elections. Now we know this much, that the members of Rajya Sabha are elected by whom? Members of Rajya Sabha are elected by MLAs of the state. So all the MLAs in all the states vote for their for the members of Rajya Sabha. Every state has a fixed quota. How many members of Rajya Sabha are selected from Bihar, Nishant? How many seats for Rajya Sabha members Bihar has? You all of you check for your state. तुम्हारे स्टेट में कितने लोगों का है? So Bihar has 16. बिहार मतलब out of 245 members that Rajya Sabha get, 16 members are sent from Bihar. Sai Charan is saying 7 from Telangana and Mohi is saying 13 from 31 from UP. So every state has their number and finally it's add up to 245. Now all the MLAs, so Bihar, I'm taking example of Bihar, you can take example of any other state. You do the math for your own state as well. So Bihar में 16 seats hai, and we have 243 MLAs. So all these MLAs will be voting for the members of Rajya Sabha. Now you know कि Rajya Sabha का election एक बार में नहीं होता है. It's not like कि all the 16 members will be elected at one time. We know that in Rajya Sabha, after every 2 years, 1/3 of the members will be resigning. हर 2 साल पे क्या होता है कि एक 1/3 लोग रिजाइन करते हैं और फिर उनका इलेक्शन होता है. फिर कुछ साल के बाद फिर 1/3 ऑफ लोग रिजाइन करेंगे और फिर उनका इलेक्शन होता है. So let's suppose in Bihar, in particular year like this year, 4 Rajya Sabha seats are vacant. 4 Rajya Sabha seats का इलेक्शन होना है इस साल. Now how they will vote? Each MLA will create a list. हर MLA ना एक लिस्ट बनाएगा. कोई भी ऐसा सिंपल वोट नहीं डालेगा. Every MLA will create a list. Every voter is required to rank the candidates according to his or her preference. In this list, let's suppose there are 10 candidates. ये 4 लोगों के लिए समझ लो कि 10 कैंडिडेट आए हैं इलेक्शन फाइट करने के लिए. And there are 243 voters. So each voter will create a list. A, B, C, D. इस तरीके का मान लो नाम है, लोग आए हैं वोट इलेक्शन लड़ने के लिए. So the voter will make a preference list. He will say कि I choose first person as number 1, the second person as number 2, the third person as number 3, and in that way he will keep on reducing his preferences. कि अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो ये, अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो ये, इस तरीके से हर आदमी 10 का एक प्रीफरेंस लिस्ट क्रिएट करेगा. ठीक है. Now to declare the winner, a candidate must secure a minimum quota of votes. So all these people, इसको थोड़ा simplicity के लिए I am taking, let's suppose take a number of 5. There are 4 seats and 5 people are fighting. तो ऐसा एक ये बनाते हैं. Let's suppose there are 2 parties in the state. एक बीजेपी है और दूसरे कांग्रेस है. Now both parties will elect their candidates to fight. अब बीजेपी वाले जो मेंबर्स, बीजेपी वाले जो एमएलएस हैं, they will always prefer their candidates. तो 1 नंबर में उनका नाम रखेंगे, 2 नंबर में फिर अपने ही पार्टी का जो दूसरा एमएलए है उसका नाम रखेंगे, 3 नंबर में अपनी पार्टी का तीसरा, एंड लेटर दे विल राइट द नेम्स ऑफ अदर कैंडिडेट्स और विल नॉट राइट. इलेक्शन जीतने के लिए एवरी कैंडिडेट मस्ट सिक्योर अ मिनिमम कोटा. मिनिमम कोटा इज टोटल नंबर ऑफ वोट्स पोल्ड बाय द टोटल नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स टू बी इलेक्टेड प्लस 1. तो मान लो कि बिहार में 243 एमएलएस हैं, या राजस्थान का एग्जांपल यहां ले रहे हैं. सो लेट्स टेक दिस ओनली. इन राजस्थान वी हैव 200 एमएलएस. इलेक्शन होना है 4 लोगों के लिए. सो 200 डिवाइडेड बाय 4 प्लस 1 इज 200 बाय 5. कितना हो गया? 40 एंड प्लस 1, सो 41. एवरी कैंडिडेट, हर कैंडिडेट को क्या चाहिए कि किसी ना किसी आदमी ने एटलीस्ट 41 पीपल should have written their name on the top. 41 लोगों ने क्या किया हो, उनका नाम कम से कम इस टॉप लिस्ट में रखा हो. ठीक है. तो ये तो बहुत सिंपल है. यू विल सी कि लेट्स सपोज इन राजस्थान, कांग्रेस हैज 110 seats in Rajya Sabha, sorry, in state legislative assembly, and BJP has rest of the seats, 90 seats. अब ये कैसे इलेक्शन होगा यहाँ पे? The members will tell, कांग्रेस तो पहले बता देगी कि भाई सबको अपने अपने कैंडिडेट्स का नाम लिखना है. So they can easily elect 2 members. 2 लोगों के लिए तो they need 82 seats. So they will just tell their MPs to write the name of these 2 persons on the top. They will write the name of these 2 persons on the top. So 2 people they can get easily elected. BJP has 90, so they will also get 82 people easily elect. 82 votes, so they can also get 2 people easily elected. है ना? 4 सीट्स करने हैं. हाँ, तो 2 लोग यहाँ पे आसानी से इलेक्ट हो जाएंगे. दोनों पार्टीज अपने अपने कैंडिडेट्स को इलेक्ट कर देगी. किसी किसी सिचुएशन में ऐसा होगा, लेट्स सपोज दैट बीजेपी हैज 70 and Congress has 130. In this case, BJP can get 1 person easily elected. BJP will tell their MPs कि भाई तुम लोग अपना अपना नाम लिख लो. So they can get 1 person easily elected. Now they are left with 30 votes. And Congress is left with how many votes? 30 and 12 नंबर मैं ऐड ठीक कर रहा हूं ना. हाँ, तो they are left with 30 this side and 82 चला गया तो 48 seats. 48 लोग बचे हुए हैं अभी इनके पास, क्योंकि 82 people have written the name of 2 people on the top, so they can get one more person elected on their seat. इस तरीके से ये सिस्टम काम करता है. थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, बट अपने को बस इतना जान लेना है. इफ यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस, वेल एंड गुड. नहीं तो इतना समझ लो कि यही है थर्ड सिस्टम. यहाँ पे क्या होता है जनरली, नीचे पढ़ोगे, if after counting all the preference votes the required number of candidates fail to fulfill the quota. मान लो कि ये सब रैंडमली वोट हो रहा है, nobody is voting on their party line and nobody is able to make the list, like सबको नहीं मिल रहा है 41%, 41 votes. So what will happen, किसी ने जो नंबर 1 किसी को दिया होगा, उसका जो लोवेस्ट वोट होगा, लेट सपोज देर आर 6 कैंडिडेट्स, 1 2 3 4 5 6 कैंडिडेट्स, एंड दिस 6 नंबर कैंडिडेट हैज गॉट 10 votes, like 10 people have said that he is their first preference. मान लो इसको 42 मिल गया, he is out. इसको भी 42 मिल गया, he is out. Now the tie is between these 3 people. इसमें से किसी को 30 मिला हुआ है, किसी को 25 मिला हुआ है, किसी को 28 मिला हुआ, किसी को मान लो 20 मिला हुआ है. So this 10 votes will be transferred. First he will be eliminated and his vote will be transferred to those who are mentioned as the second preference on those ballot papers. इसके वोट को नेग्लेक्ट कर दिया जाएगा. और यहाँ पे इस 10 वोटर लिस्ट में जिसने सेकंड प्रेफरेंस पे लोगों को रखा होगा, लेट सपोज कि एक ने 6 को फर्स्ट पोजीशन पे रखा है और थर्ड को सेकंड पोजीशन पे रखा है. दूसरे आदमी ने 6 को फर्स्ट पोजीशन पे रखा है और फोर्थ को सेकंड पोजीशन पे रखा है, फोर्थ वाले को. सो जब इसका वोट जो कैंसिल होगा, दिस वोट विल एड अप टू दिस पर्सन एंड दिस वोट विल एड अप टू दिस पर्सन. सिमिलरली वी विल सी, ये इसका 10 वोट इन तीनों लोगों में डिवाइड हो जाएगा. सो इफ मोर पीपल हैव सेलेक्टेड आउट ऑफ दिस 10 पीपल, इफ मोर पीपल हैव सेलेक्टेड दिस पर्सन, सो ऑल ऑफ द वोट्स विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू हिम. फिर सेकेंड राउंड में देखेंगे कि इसके लिस्ट में कितने लोगों ने सेकेंड वोट में किसको दिया है, एंड इन दैट लिस्ट, from that list the votes will be added to these 2 people. Finally we will be left with 5 people. थोड़ा थोड़ा कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? It's already saying it's a complicated system. एक बार पूछो, डाउट पूछोगे तो शायद मैं और अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर पाऊँ. समझ में आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे? आ रहा है? You can try to like visualize this in your mind कि कैसे कौन सा वोट किस में ऐड हो रहा है. Then it will become much more easier. थोड़ा सोचना है इस पे बैठ के. Now why we adopted first past the post system? First, you have seen how much complicated it can become. Proportional representation is very complicated. First past the post system give a clear choice to the voters at the time of election. First past the post system में आपको मालूम है कि you are voting for Modi for Varanasi. You are voting for the candidate from a particular constituency. You are not in dark. कि किसी को भी बना देंगे. So it becomes easy for the voters to choose. Now vote it in the proportional representation system, everything is in the hand of party. Party becomes very strong. They can make MPs whosoever they want to. But in first past the poll system, the choice is in the hand of people. They want to vote for the candidate or for the party. जैसे कि तुम लोगों ने 2014 या 19 के इलेक्शन में बहुत सारे स्लोगन सुने होंगे इन मेनी स्टेट्स. पीपल यूज टू से और मेनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज. जैसे मैं उस टाइम में आई थिंक आई वाज इन झारखंड, धनबाद वगैरह में शायद मैं था 14 के इलेक्शन में. एंड वन स्लोगन विच वाज ऑफन हर्ड इन धनबाद की कोई पीएन सिंह, आई थॉट ही वॉन द इलेक्शन देयर. सो पीपल यूज से कि पीएन सिंह मजबूरी है, नरेंद्र मोदी जरूरी है. तो फॉर देम voting for BJP was more important. The candidate was not important. In some places, you will see that even though somebody is fighting from without any party or fighting for a party which people do not prefer, but that candidate is so good that people will vote for that candidate. Overall party हारे या जीते, but people will vote for that candidate. So first past the poll system में ये option है लोगों के पास कि आप किसको preference देना चाहते हो. Who do you prefer? In first past the poll system, you know कि who is your representative and who is responsible for your locality. जैसे कि वहां क्या हो रहा था, अर्जेंट इसराइल में you do not know कि who is your representative. You do not know if the sewage in your constituency is not working, then which MP to ask for. There are so many MPs, but here you know कि अच्छा तुम्हारे यहाँ कुछ काम नहीं हुआ तो people will. अभी देखो कि यूपी में इलेक्शन चल रहा है तो कई सारे सिटिंग एमपी सिटिंग एमएलए को लोग दौड़ा दौड़ा के मार रहे हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने उस 5 साल में काम नहीं. एक बीजेपी का एमपी, बीजेपी का एमएलए है शायद, आई थिंक तुम लोगों ने देखा होगा. फर्स्ट इन वन वायरल वीडियो ही वाज सीन एज डूइंग सिट अप्स, कान पकड़ के उठक बैठक कर रहे थे. एंड इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो दैट केम आई थिंक यस्टरडे, उसमें लोग जाके तेल मालिश भी कर रहे हैं. तो here you know कि this guy is responsible and this guy is my representative, so you can go for your grievances to that one person. In proportional representation, you cannot do that. The first past the poll system is much more accountable. First past the poll system has proved to be simple and familiar to the ordinary voters. नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि फर्स्ट पास्ट द पोल सिस्टम में 2 पार्टी सिस्टम इवॉल्व हो जाता है. In proportional representation, there will be very small parties, multiple parties. But in first past the poll system, you will always get, or in most of the cases, you get 2 party system. But in India, after 1989, we saw that बहुत सारी multiple collisions हो रहे हैं and many small parties have emerged. This is essentially good for our electoral system. Then reservation of constituencies. Why do we need reservations? And how the reservation system works? Who decides कि कौन सी seats reserve होंगी? This we will read after taking a break. And we will read about election reforms come in the next class. 50 लोग तो अभी हो गए हैं. Now और क्या बताना था. आज पापा कह रहे थे मेरे कि it's very old saying that तो हमेशा बचपन से कहते रहे, आज फिर से उनको कहीं याद आ गया कुछ, तो saying कि मेहनत वो कुंजी है जो किस्मत के मेहनत वो सुनहरी कुंजी है जो सफलता के ताले, जो किस्मत के ताले खोल देती है. हार्ड वर्क, लेबर is that golden key which unlocks the lock of luck. मेहनत करो, किस्मत बदल सकता है. Bye. See you at 3 on the same link.